William Ruto is not God. William Ruto will be removed the same way he was put by the people of Kenya. I believe he'll be very lucky to survive until 2027. The kind of problems that are coming are insurmountable for him. I think it's even unfortunate that he's even trying to hang on when he knows he cannot solve the problems that are there. He's now playing petty politics, trying to take us back to old-time politics of tribe division and the same old game that the colonialists brought here, divide and rule. It's nonsense. The powers that be are still using the police, no matter what their limitations in the Constitution, and the power we have as their sovereign to continually dominate us. How do we stand and sit here and talk when up until today, our freedom fighters of the recent revolution, the one that is going to change Kenya completely and absolutely, 60 plus are said to have been killed. Some figures go up to even 200. We have people being abducted. I am still alive. I'm still here. You can frustrate me with communication, but we are still moving around. We are still breathing oxygen. There are people who have died. There are people like my friend Bob Njagi and the two Longton twins who came to see me in Kamkunji when I was illegally arrested. I say illegally because the police had an order saying you cannot arrest him. And they chose to ignore that order, to tell you that they are taking orders from somewhere else. You've seen the lack of accountability of our IG. Those three young men visited me in Kamkunji. And when they did, soon after, giving comfort to friends and family who were in Kamkunji outside and singing some good patriotic songs, on their way home they were abducted. This is now over 5 weeks. We don't know where they are. This is the Kenya that we are living in the year 2024. Really? Really? 2 years just after an election? So-called the most democratic election some Western observers and diplomats have stated. 2 years after. This is the Kenya? I am a parent of Gen Zs who are also on the street. And I am fighting. I have stuck out my neck. I did not have to stick out my neck. I didn't have to find out what our real basic problem here is, and to try and give civic education about it. And apart from civic education, I've been very active, very, very active. We just talked about court cases, but in very many ways, trying to make sure that this agenda for a greater tomorrow for your generation is there. I would not like to join you in your brandishing my generation as a whole as having given up. I don't agree with you. Many people my age and below are very clear that this is no longer sustainable. And they have not given up. We have been here. There was a time people never believed the Mzungu would ever leave Kenya. And there were those Africans who were saying, in fact, Africans are not ready to rule Kenya, and we should keep the Mzungu. And the Mzungu left. There were those who believed Moi would never ever leave Kenya, that he'll be president until death, because that was the constitution, by the way. It had no term limits for a president. And he left. He walked off the stage. He walked off the stage. There are those who would have told you we would never have had a new constitution in this country unless there was a war and that two sides have been put together because of war and changing the constitution. We have a new constitution. William Ruto is not God. William Ruto will be removed the same way he was put by the people of Kenya. I believe he'll be very lucky to survive until 2027. The kind of problems that are coming are insurmountable for him. I think it's even unfortunate that he's even trying to hang on when he knows he cannot solve the problems that are there. He's now playing petty politics, trying to take us back to old-time politics of tribe division and The same old game that the colonialists brought here, divide and rule. It's nonsense. We are not going to be divided. We are united in pain, major economic pain, and we are united in economic emancipation. And it's not just Gen Z, it's all of us, Joshua. All of us. Your parents are all trying to earn money and they can feel the pain. The one thing that brought people out on the streets was pain. And that pain is not going to stop. In fact, it's going to get worse and it's getting worse every single day. That pain, I want to assure you, we have not seen the bottom of it. But it is soon coming. There's going to be what you call the suddenly moment. He's reaching the end of the rope. And this is why they are very much after some of us. He's reaching the end of his rope. Okay. And some of the nightmares that are coming, that are clearly plaguing William Ruto's mind is debt default. Because the pain of debt default is humongous. It means then that now it's not about taxes. Now it's about what you have, what you and I have, that they come to take, because after all, we are the guarantees of this odious debt, so-called. But I say we are not guarantees of odious debt. We are guarantees of debt, not the odious one. Because the odious one is not in our constitution. We are not the guarantees. But what will happen in a situation of debt default is that you and I, and every Kenyan is going to ask, what are we defaulting on? Wait a minute here. This has got nothing to do with us. And what did you think is going to happen when we start asking about where trillions of our money went and why we are being forced into slavery because of it? Who will it eat? It will eat very many, including William Samoei Ruto. There's no way, absolutely no way, we are going to take this pain. And I can assure you, many of us, I included, should not fear him. We will be on those streets if that's what it takes. We shall be out there. I have seen the most courageous thing I ever saw on June 25th, when kids ran towards bullets. I've never seen that. Never even saw that during the clamor for multipartyism. It was only akin of the stories we used to hear about the Mau Mau, the way they used to face the British soldiers and their home guards when they had guns and they just had few bows and arrows and they would run towards those bullets. It is akin to that. This is going to get worse. So we must take courage. We must be very clear that the Kenya we want is not too far. And the Kenya we want, we have to fight for. Just like our forefathers fought for our political rights, we have to do the same sort of struggle for our economic ones. And what is ahead is a situation that will best define us as Kenyans and probably be the birth of a new sub-Saharan Africa. That birth will be a more ideological African, a more programmed African to achieve, an African that has an agenda, just like the colonialists had an agenda when they came here. We don't have an agenda. We are too busy thinking about how we should keep our stomachs full. We've been made to be like that. We've had what you call planned poverty in this country, where 60% are struggling just to put food in their stomach. 30% are the ones that Tari you're talking about are so scared because they're just a salary or a mortgage away from that poverty. 10%, and even of that 10% who are up there, probably 1% are the ones who are really ruling us and dominating us. And I'm saying that this is the order that is going to change. And many people do not want to see that change coming. Many people are afraid of it, but it is something that they cannot stop.